it's that big.
I mean, it is a cartoon, like cartoon graphics type game. If they were trying to make it into a more textured, real graphic type, I want to see how they do there if they were going to do that.
Yeah, see, I agree with you on that one.
So we know that like what's it called what's it called the Google console?
Google Stadia.
The Stadia. That's going to run in 4K and it's already backed by Unreal. Unreal's good. Graphically, it's a really good engine to have. But for like functionality and all, like actual overall gameplay, I think BioWare beats it. How many times have you been playing a BioWare game and you fall through the ground?
I don't know, man. Back in the day when they had Unreal Tournament come out, I played the fuck out of that game. Never had any problems with it. And then I'd go and run to play like, what's an older game? Older games that BioWare made. Did they make BioShock?
BioShock. I can't remember.
I want to say they did, and the older BioShocks had some problems with them.
Like, the way I look at it is BioWare seems to be a little bit more consistent. Like, they hold up a little bit better, but Unreal has a lot of frame issues when you're running on an Unreal graphic style. It's got a lot of frame issues and it can be buggy, but a lot of that does still come down to play testing.
That's true. That's absolutely right.
So, you can't just judge it off of that.
Oh yeah, boys, I've started recording the podcast right now.
Oh.
I'm all for forwarding the way that games are played. We all love them. We want them to be better. But I just think that there are, like right now, technologically, there are just things that we can't do. And the things that have already been, set the way that they are, like the Xbox, PlayStation, the Switch. God bless your soul. You blew your pancreas out of your mouth.
I did. It literally hurt.
But I just don't.
About that.
Oh, go ahead.
The only thing I have to say about that is by the time they came out with Xbox One, you already had TVs running in 8K. TVs and monitors. And it seems like gaming, as far as like graphical and frame and texture wise, it's more far behind than just watching regular TV, which, it shouldn't make any sense. But at the same time, I don't know, you just gotta wonder about shit like that. Like, if a TV show can run on an 8K resolution with 120 frames per second, then why can't a video game? Like, why can't you make your system the same amount of enhancement as per the TV?
Okay, now, the reason behind that, though, for 100%, the reason behind that is, if you look at cutscenes, normally cutscenes can run higher.
Pre-rendered.
But when you're in-game, it's pre-rendered. That's the reason why. When you're playing it, it's having to render everything as you're doing it, which, that's hard to do.
Yeah.
Now, that's
so
why...
it's going to be, they have to lower the scale.
That's why I applaud the God of War crew. The new God of War, the transition between the cutscenes and gameplay was seen. There was not a hiccup. There wasn't a glitch.
It was flawless.
And it was flawless. So we're getting there.
Badass.
We're getting there. But the reason why it's taken so long to get there is because the amount of programming that has to go in to make those transitions happen.
The games take a while.
The games take a while.
Until we can find a faster way and easier and consistent way of doing it, it's going to take time.
Well, the only thing I can say about that is they had the Xbox 360 for about 4 to 5 years before they came out with the Xbox One. If they want to make something like that run on that good resolution and graphic, then they need to take more time with it, as well as video games with them coming out with all kinds of issues and shit, because they're not spending enough time on it.
I mean, yeah, a lot of game companies don't spend enough time on their games. They spit them out, try to make a profit, and then use updates to solve it later on.
And that's
They'd make more profit if they just spent the time that they needed to on the game itself.
Well, the way that most of them do it is they'll release it with bugs, knowing that it's not going to be perfect and that there's going to be issues with it. And they see how the marketing on it's doing and see how many people bought it to see if it's even really going to make a difference if they do update a bunch and try to fix it.
I believe
They
that's
try
what
to see how much money they
DLC
can
is.
stack up first. And that's one of the issues with gaming. If they didn't do that, I think that their initial buyouts would be a whole lot higher.
That's why indie games are selling so much, because they're not rushed by publishers to just crap out this game at a certain date. That's why I kind of think indie developed games are going to start outshining big released like titles from these huge developers.
I mean, a lot of them already
But are
are.
they gonna
Like,
stick
a lot of
with,
indie
like,
games shoot high.
Are they still gonna stick with like the regular arcade style of game, or are they gonna like enhance their vision? I mean, when you're making money like that, like India is, which I agree, you can tell they've been making shit tons because of how well they are at making their games. You gotta think about moving forward to other game styles as well, instead of just sticking to the arcade style, which is what they're best at for sure. But that doesn't mean they couldn't, try their hand at something like a MOBA or a MMO or a RPG or a FPS.
Yeah.
Okay, before we go any farther, Zach, where are you? I'm trying to start a dungeon, and you're the thing holding me back.
Oh, I'm in combat in Cyrodiil.
Oh, you're in the multiplayer section. Okay, that's the problem. Okay, I was trying to get us into a dungeon.
Here, I'll just die real fast and go to the shrine travel to you.
What, did you play with Kenny last night or something?
No, I was just doing some collecting, because there's a lot more plants over here in the Cyrodiil.
And I'll go ahead and say this, as far as, like, MMOs the way they stand right now, is if you have traits, like I'm going to use ESO as an example. If you've got these trades that you can upgrade, blacksmithing, art, or woodworking, and all of those things that you get skill points go off of a specific thing, the way that they have the materials for you to upgrade your stat line, they're sparse. And that's the way it is in a lot of MMOs that I see.
Yeah.
Even though there's not that many games that go in depth like ESO does. Like, we'll take another one, like Onigiri. God, you sound like you're dying.
Hawking a loogie.
Oh. You look at Onigiri, you need the, like a certain, like say, to make the magmata that you need. I know a lot of people ain't gonna understand what that is. You go and you break down all these dungeons, and you run it and you run it and you run it and you run it, and you still don't get what you need. I get that that's, RNG. I understand that. But they need to fix the way, like, so you ain't got to run one area over 100 times in order to get this one thing.
Like the drop rate percentages, pretty much?
Yeah, the drop rates.
I just wish there was more to do in MMOs. It seems like most MMOs are very limited anymore, especially. Like, it takes so long to learn how to do anything in an MMO, and you ain't got time to do that because you have to do all this other stuff where you can even do it, and then you still got to get materials, items, I can get how it's hard, but I believe that there should be a faster. I believe that you should be able to do just blacksmithing missions for a long time. Like there should just be a whole blacksmithing, like go into areas, do this. There should just be a whole big bunch of easier ways of doing things. But it seems like it just takes too long in most MMOs to do anything anymore.
And you take people that aren't, like us, that, like say you work in a factory or something like that, and you're working 12 hours a day. You want to come home and unwind and play this MMO that you've been, grinding at for so long that you maybe get to play, maybe 2-3 hours out of the day? And that's if you just come home, eat, crap, take a shower, and then just play till it's time to go to bed. You imagine how long that's going to take somebody to get where they need to be?
Yeah.
And how many of those people are going to get aggravated because, they see all this cool stuff that they can't get because, they just don't have the time to play the game because the drop rates for the items that they need are pretty much non-existent.
And the one thing especially is most good MMOs are only on PC. Even though they can be transferred over to Xbox very easily.
Yeah, Xbox, PlayStation, all of that. All it would take would be a little bit of playtesting to make sure that, all the collisions work. Make sure nothing's going to break, which would make, if I guess, 4 months of hard playtesting. And then they could easily have this very successful MMO triple its money.
Yeah. They're just like World of Warcraft could be transferred over into Xbox so easily. It's like a lot of the stuff on it would be so easy to transfer over. Yes, it'd be a huge game, but they could downscale it into sections and make it to where it wouldn't be as hard on the rendering and stuff like that real easy. Like they just have to section it off more.
And I don't really know how to say it without sounding stupid, but if you're running through this massive online game, I'm not opposed to throwing in a load screen so that way you can render the rest of the map.
No, there is nothing wrong with that.
I'm okay with sitting in a load screen for, 15-20 seconds for everything to load so that way I know my game's not going to crash. Or I'm not going to fall through the ground, or I'm not going to get stuck in this 2-inch crack.
There isn't no true MMOs where you can just be traveling, find an enemy, find another player and just start trying to kill him, get all of his loot, freaking have high-level raids that are actually raids with shitloads of people going in and doing things. You just can't do that on Xbox. They won't add any games on here that can do that, even though it's really not that hard to do. No,
it's not that hard to do. It's just, and you take these big time developers, like you got Blizzard. We're talking about World of Warcraft, so I might as well use them as the whipping boy. They have so much money, they could do that with no issue. They know how to do it. They've been doing it for God since the 90s. They know how to do it. But I think, honestly, it still comes down to that stupid whole thing of one console's better than the other, PC's better than everything. I still believe that's what it comes down to. There is gaming racism.
And a lot of it also comes down to the time that you have to put into it. You got to put a lot of time to doing a big MMO and that kind of style of a game and transferring everything over. And most people, if you look, most game companies are just spitting out games left and right. They don't even care how good it is anymore. They just want a game out there so people will be like, oh, this looks okay, I guess.
Yeah, I remember back in the, even in the early 2005, 2006, you've got a developer that comes out with a game, it's going to be good because it hasn't been rushed. They've put the time into it.
Look at Ninja Gaiden.
Yeah.
They took the time on Ninja Gaiden, and you can tell when playing it that they took time and put in effort to make a game that is going to last a while and be good.
Excuse me for a second while I be a windbag. Ninja Gaiden, thank you.
I don't know. I don't know.
I
What
told you I
you're
was
talking
gonna be a
about. What game is that?
windbag.
It's a hot
Ninja
bag.
Gaiden Black.
No, I don't know what game that is. I don't know what you're talking about.
Use one
I know
line,
Ninja
night
Gaiden.
But then you look at, like I'm kind of going to say this other thing Ryan did. You look at Ninja Gaiden 3, it's not that good.
No, it was bad. It was really bad. I thought so, at least.
But I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt, and I'm going to say that was rushed by their publisher.
Yeah.
Because if it was up to them, that game would have been seamless.
Whereas
Oh,
like
yeah,
Ninja
most
Gaiden
likely.
2, it probably took them like 6 years, 7 years to make that.
Oh Lord, yeah. If not
And
longer.
that game was really good.
Like, you even look at the old Ninja Gaidens on Nintendo. They were hard, but they were fun. Oh, get out of that. I just wish we could get back to a time to whenever game developers could actually sit back and take their time and make the game that they've envisioned. Instead of
Yeah.
having to worry about deadlines.
But sadly, it isn't going to happen.
No, because the gaming industry has gotten so overpopulated with all these money grabbing, I don't really know how to describe it, but all they do is just stick their hand out and hope for, hope that everybody's going to buy their game, and it's just not up to par. And then I'm afraid we're going to be coming up on another gaming crisis like that was in the 80s, where pretty much everything was crap, so they just quit making games.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna say this. You look at the Call of Duty franchise. Whenever we was 12, 13, that was the best game we'd ever seen.
Oh yeah.
Loved it. Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare, it was good. It was balanced aside from, ACRs and heartbeat sensors with grenade launchers attached.
Yeah.
But it was a good game that you could sit down and play, and you actually had, you actually had fun.
Oh my, Skunk, you're going far with it.
No, I'm actually going in. Feels like people are looking at video games as a job now. You look at, especially MMOs, man. There's all this work that has to go into something that is just a string of ones and zeros.
Yeah.
But if it's a good game, you don't mind spending hours putting in all that time for a special string of ones and zeros. You know what I mean? Oh God, why did this get intense right here when I'm trying to make a point?
No, I was low on mana. I kind of had to stop for a
Dip.
second.
Dip and run. Now let's get into politics.
Oh, no. I mean, in a way, we're in gaming politics.
It's the only politics we have any ground saying anything in.
That's true.
I don't really care much for the other kind.
I don't like your car.
I don't like your can. Get out of my yard.
Back in the day, when the founding fathers made all this politics shit, they'd come and have a meeting for 2 weeks, and maybe it was 2 days, I can't remember. But after that, they'd go back home. It wasn't a job. They'd had normal jobs and shit like that they had to get to.
Yeah.
It was just something to help the country run. Now it's become a full-time job and become corrupt on top of it.
In the video game industry, it's like have a board that these developers have to pitch their game to and have them review it before it's even announced. And like just a bunch of people like us, like this is what we do, most of the day.
Yeah.
Just have that,
Good idea.
and then if it passes that, then you can announce your game.
That way you can point shit out and be like, hey, this is complete garbage. You need to take that back and fix all this.
I sound like I'm whipping a dead horse here. I hate falling through the map in video games. That happens to me a lot.
Yeah. It's pretty crappy.
You ever done it in Skyrim?
Yeah.
Not really, I fell through the map, but I do know about a little speed run trick, which is, it's a bug in the game that doesn't need to be there. You can get to Redwood. Is it Redwood? The first starting area you go to?
I can't remember.
Riverwood.
Riverwood.
All you have to do is whenever the dragon's attacking, go into you have to side with the red people, whatever they are. Not the Stormcloaks, the other
Red
guys.
people. Assassin's Guild?
No, it's like right there at the start whenever everything's popping off, whenever the dragon shows
Imperials.
up. Imperials. All you gotta do is side with them, pick up a wooden platter, like to where it's got like the mouse and keyboard effect where you can actually like pick stuff up and look around with it, rotate it and all that. Walk to a wall, you just clip through the wall, and then you land out right there above Riverwood. You can bypass that whole starting section. Doesn't need to be there. I hate that it's there, but it's a cool little thing to do.
I know a thing in there where you can like get like even up to Daedric material, and it's like a glitch in a map at like I don't know if it was an intended glitch or like if the creators put that there or what. But there's like a chest below this sit, and you can glitch out of the map and go to the other side of the city, and there's a chest there that's got like gear in it that's up to Daedric level.
I think there are certain developers put into games to, like, hey, if you find this, it's going to help you speed track through a lot of the, the boring stuff of the game. And that's fine. But whenever you get something like, if you remember in Oblivion, the whole duplicate glitch,
Yeah.
that wasn't intended to be there. There are certain things that you can tell that belong in a game and don't. How this guy's meaty.
Yeah, he is.
Oh, that's another thing that just happened right there that I don't think was supposed to happen.
What?
The whole breaking free of crowd control effects, the LTRT deal. Half time it doesn't work.
This shit don't work. Yeah. Shit don't work sometimes.
I'd never have it work. It almost never works when I do it.
Look, I'm sitting here beating the ever-living crap out of my triggers. And I'm still stunned. I'm still shocked.
Oh wait, the other
I'm
way.
shook.
I'm all shook, boy. Now there's
The boys in here.
I don't want to sound like I'm complaining, but something has to be said about the way games are going nowadays. because like these, like IGN, like all these actual game review companies. That's not an honest review.
No, not really.
Like, I mean, whenever COD World War II got a 9 out of 10 from IGN, how in good conscience can they say that that's a good game? It was a trash game.
It really was. It was terrible.
But I'll tell you one even worse than that was Infinite Warfare.
Yeah. I think they just buy them out, and they buy a good review is what's been happening.
That's exactly what they do. So then you got all these people that are like, oh, well, IGN said this is a good game, even though, half people don't listen to that. They see a game that looks cool, they go and they get it.
Yeah.
And then you've got this, pile of turds sitting in your console or sitting in your hard drive on your PC. It bugs me. It's almost like because they're lying to you.
Yeah, basically.
It's like it's a full legal version of false advertisement.
Yep.
Like, how'd y'all get this good review, even though this game is a hot pile of dog turds? Oh, we bribed them. Bribery, that's illegal. No, not really.
It don't make much sense. It seems like they can just do about anything anymore and just, get away with it.
You hear about money having power, and you can look at the game industry and tell that that's absolutely true.
Well, I mean, freaking look at Anthem.
Yeah.
Like they changed that game like 100 times, and they still expect people to like it. On top of Ryan, are you dead?
Yes.
Oh, I can't find your body.
I got it.
But they changed it a shitload of times. They spoiled a lot about the game. It got still decent reviews from critics somehow. I don't know how it got still decent reviews.
Which game are we talking about?
Anthem. It still got decent reviews from critics.
No, I got like a 66.
Not from what I've seen. There was one of them that gave it like an 80 something. I don't YouTube like actual game critic pages.
I don't go to actual pages because I don't believe that shit.
Well, that's my whole point. But a lot of people do. I go to it just to see, and fucking Anthem got like an 80 something. And we all know
I
that
trust
game
YouTube more than anything because it's actual people playing the actual game, giving you their honest opinion.
Yeah, some honest opinions. Depends on if it's a sponsored video.
Yeah, it depends, but I mean, for the most part, YouTubers don't let you down.
Not as much.
As long as it's not Ali A.
I don't watch that guy shit.
Well, he lies, man. He was the one that said COD. Like, I mean, I know he's just like pretty much just a COD, player, but he said Infinite Warfare was possibly the best Call of Duty that had ever been made.
Yeah, I bet.
It's like I look at Modern Warfare 2 and I think that's the pinnacle of COD. Like that's the best it's ever been, and that's the best it ever will be.
Yep.
I'd say it goes COD 2, COD 1, or like Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 1, Black Ops.
I would have to put Ghost in front of any of them. You ask me anymore. I still like Ghost the best.
No, I like Ghost the best, but I think mechanically Modern Warfare 2 was the best.
I don't know. They both had their ups and downs.
Ghost is my absolute favorite Call of Duty.
Why do my arms have ice on them? I haven't figured that out. Why does
That's
that
me.
keep happening?
My shield
What's it
buff.
doing? Oh, okay.
It's shielding you from elements, not damage. But
And then
elements.
whenever your weapon turns red, that's a damage buff from me.
Oh, or it could be for me because I have a damage buff does the same thing, but it also heals.
Okay, remember, don't kill the
It
snake.
gives you a very yeah.
Now I'll tell you a really good. Like I know, like is this just like the MMO episode? Because that's all I can really seem to think about. And
Get in the bubble. Get in the bubble.
Coincidentally, it's perfect because look at what we're playing.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Destiny 1.
What?
It was a good MMO.
I mean, yeah, in a way.
It just seemed like it seemed like they took their time with it.
Oh shit.
And then you look at Destiny 2. Somebody started throwing some dollars at them.
Yeah, you could definitely tell that something was going on when
That's
Destiny
why they
2
broke
came out.
off with Activision.
Now, if they make a Destiny 3 and they're still not partnered with Activision, I'll probably pick it up.
Oh, they're not partnered anymore at all.
Get inside.
No, like what I was saying, like is if Activision don't come up and try to throw a bunch of money at them, and they still stick to their guns, and they're like, no, we ain't fooling with you. I'll probably pick up Destiny 3 if they wind up making it.
Yeah, I could probably pick it up. They were partnered with them.
Because Bungie is they're a solid developer. They really are.
They fell short on this one though.
Oh yeah, I think like everybody's entitled to at least one error of judgment.
I mean, they'd been wanting to stop doing Halo for a while and wanted to be unpartnered with Microsoft for a long time. And then they made it even worse when they partnered with Activision.
Yeah.
The only reason Activision didn't implement their theories big in the first Destiny was because they wanted to see what they can do, the sales they can make, and stuff like that, I'm guessing. I mean, that would be the only reason, really, if you think about it.
I think it's okay to try out going with a new publisher. And if you have a bad game out of it, then hey, we can't fool with these guys no more.
Yeah.
But it's whenever they're just like, oh well, we're getting a lot of coverage, where we're getting a lot of advertisements and we're getting a lot of revenue off of this. We're just gonna stick with it. If you stick to your guns and make a good game, the money will come.
Yeah.
People will buy it. But if you're not running with a big publisher, that just means, hey, you got to put the footwork in to advertise your game.
I mean, not an MMO real, but look at Outlast.
True.
Like
Outlast was indie developed.
Yep, and it became one of the biggest games it was a big game for a while. And
It
it's
was
still
one
one.
of-
It was so big that it got a second part.
How many indie games do you see that get a... Now, the second one wasn't that good.
Well, the second one was also a sponsored one.
Oh, yeah, Red Barrel took a buyout, didn't they?
Yep. Yep.
That's right. Yeah, they did.
And guess what? It wasn't as good.
Sorry, I had to maneuver my chew.
Hmm?
Where you at?
At that boss still.
Oh, we're up here at the drawbridge.
Did you about fall asleep again?
No.
Oh.
I was looking through my inventory. Where the fuck do I go from here, though?
Head back
I'll go
the
back
way
and get him.
you were. Oh, okay.
I see you.
I don't know, man. Like, games have always been such a big part of my life, and I assume, all of ours. I know it has been for Zach, but it's just something
Wait, what has been for me?
like just video games in general.
Oh yeah, video games been a big part of my life.
So it's kind of personal whenever they just take a big fat dump all over it. It's especially bad whenever it's games that you really enjoy playing.
Yeah.
It's like
About that.
I got you. You keep running away. I was trying to get in range. Oh, that ain't good.
we're fine. But I wish Google the best with their console they're coming out with.
Yeah, I hope it's good, but I ain't got too high hopes for it.
I don't really have any hopes for it because I feel it's better to have no expectations than high ones that can't be met.
Yeah.
See, like, I didn't play it, but Ryan, how do you feel? Do you feel like Red Dead 2 lived up to Red Dead 1?
Yes, definitely. And you could say it kind of went beyond it.
Do you think it was that because of the story or the gameplay, or just because they added a bunch of new fancy buttons?
Story and gameplay.
Like, what do you think is the biggest thing that would sell, like, that sold you on it?
I don't know. I like westerns a lot, but like, if we're doing it in comparison to the other one, it's probably the character you play as compared to John. I feel like Arthur was a more well-made character than John Marston was.
I can see that.
And his attitude and everything was understandable, I guess, because I didn't really understand John Marston when I played that game. Like I understood the story behind him having to go hunt down the rest of his posse, but oh my god, I'm about dead. The big boy is chasing me.
I was getting eaten. I had to move for a second. I couldn't.
Like, I understand the outcome of him having to go hunt down the rest of his posse because the detectives held his family hostage, which is something that would be illegal today.
Usually.
but would still happen.
Oh yeah,
But the
definitely. still happen.
backstory, I like the backstory as behind, like it was before all that happened, and Arthur was pretty much the character that made John Marston the character he is. So he explained everything from the first game for me.
Mm.
How do y'all feel about the whole making a game and then making a prequel to the game?
What do you mean?
Like, obviously Red Dead 2 is a precursor to Red Dead 1.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And you said you found it hard to understand John Marston, like his character, from like the get-go, but as the story evolved, you understood it. Do you think if they would have made...
Normally when they make a game and then they make a second one continuing the story, the second one isn't always as good as the first one. But when they make a game and then make a second one explaining the story as if a before story, before the first one even happened, it seems like the second one is better.
See, I
Because
think
it
it depends on the
explains
type
everything.
of game.
So I think
Like,
it depends on the type of game too.
I mean, I think it's important. The type of game makes a big difference.
No, it's not game anymore. It's game.
Game.
It's a game.
That's what it is. It's a game. A game.
No, you said game a minute ago. It's
A
funny.
game.
Okay.
I'm from Brooklyn.
Just saying
White
it
talks
the way I
retarded down
say it.
here.
But I think it matters on the type of game. Like an MMO type game, I don't. I think that it has to. I don't see a point of having another one into the series whenever add-ons were just feel like Destiny 1. I don't think there should have been a Destiny 2. It's still in my eyes. I don't see that there was really a need in it. They could have legitimately just added in more add-ons and DLC and different stuff like that and made the game just as good, and it would have just kept upping in value and made the game better. They could have added in more storyline going into it with that.
Updated
and it would have
graphics
been
if they wanted to.
Yeah,
Shit
like there was.
that.
I did not see no point in them doing a second one. I see it to be pointless.
It kind of is. Like, you look at World of Warcraft, there's only been one World of Warcraft.
Mm-hmm.
And that it's been going on for, well, since the 90s. And all they do is just come out with new expansions.
The only
if you
thing
want-
about the expansions is that they're extremely expensive. Even on World of
I mean-
Warcraft,
It's yeah, but I mean, as long as it adds in enough stuff, it's still worth buying. Like you still had to spend $60 on freaking Destiny 2, and even then they're gonna add in expansions. Still, you gotta get if you want to play more of it. Whatever, they could have just stuck with Destiny 1, did the same thing, and it'll work better.
Just add in,
Well, I
like
think
a
if you're gonna come
$60
out
expansion.
Yeah,
you're coming
$60
out with an
expansion that adds to the
expansion,
bunch.
though. Well, what I'm saying is, you're coming out with an expansion. Yeah, you're charging $60 as if it's full game price, but you're not coming out with another, full game worth of content. So I think at
That's
that
what I
point
said,
you should at
you-
least lower the price $20 or something like that.
Well, I'm not saying it has to be $60. As long as they value the price for the content, it wouldn't matter. Most content isn't going to be $60 anyways. Normally it's like $30, and you still got you basically have a whole new game added in normally. Whenever most companies do expansions for like MMOs, Destiny type games, anyways, like you get so much value in it that you're spending half the price of a new game, but you're getting basically a new game.
That's true.
I don't like new games coming out whenever there's an original that's like an MMO type style game anyways. I think it's pointless. Normally it just ruins half the franchise and turns off most people from wanting to even think about getting the new version.
I don't know, it's like there's a real specific way that, oh god, that scared me a little bit. Especially for MMOs, you know, like I agree with Zach. Like I don't see the point in making a secondary, you know, like installment into the well, I guess you could call it a series at that point. I don't really think that any MMO really needs a I don't think any MMO needs a series. I think it needs to be just like a series of $40 expansions.
Yeah. Like I think it would work better.
And I think most people would digest it easier than having to go out and, well, maybe not even, you know, because everything's digital now, than having to pay $60 for another game that's almost identical to the game you was playing. It just has pretty much the same amount of story, the same amount of PvP, PvE content and raids, and you know, stuff that goes along with the MMO. You're basically buying the same game twice, so you've pretty much spent 60 plus 60 is 120. So if you're gonna be spending $120 on a game, you might as well stretch that out as one game with $40 expansions. And then every time that expansion comes out, add in about 5 hours worth of base story, and then about another 10 to 12 hours of side missions, and then you drop your raid. What are you?
Yeah, I can see that working fine. I don't need it. It's for blacksmithing. It ups it from buying a superior or superb or something like that. I didn't actually read it. I kind of skimmed it. I wish it would have said superb.
Superb.
But yeah, that's the way I feel about. Oh no, skunk.
What did I say about falling through maps? Why would they put a hole right in the middle of where you're going?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you'll have to fast travel to me once I make it out.
I'm getting out here on my own.
It won't let me go out this gate yet.